Hey there and welcome back to Sims Sunday. My name is Pete and this is the series in which we try to complete The Sims 3. And we start things off with Patrick, whose main focus in today's episode is to finally catch 10 deathfish. And because we can't catch those until 6 AM in the morning, let's send him off to the graveyard for a short fishing session. And while he's there, we can also grab the Hardly Hungry lifetime reward for him. After completing the cooking skill in the last episode, he doesn't need to be hungry that often anymore. Awake up next is Pauline, who will start her day with a cake breakfast, and then her father Paul gets up and he will start writing. He is already a bit stressed and work starts soon, so we will only do this for a good hour or so, but even that 1 hour is still progress towards completion of another masterpiece novel. After breakfast, Pauline can spend a bit of time with the logic skill book, but she also has to work today, so that time will be limited. And for Paul, just half an hour of writing was enough. Now it's time to raise his fun bar. No longer able to catch deathfish at the graveyard, Patrick returns and immediately begins to take care of his garden. And with the latest money tree harvests in his inventory, we can already sell those again. Then we can also grab the second lifetime reward for him in this episode, and that will be Dirt Defiant. At least with the shorter gardening session, this will hopefully make it so that we don't always have to take a shower afterwards. Our collection specialist Ayesha is now also awake and ready to grab some breakfast, while Paul has maxed out his fun bar and is now ready to go to work. Another full shift of working hard, and I think he should be able to get his second promotion in the business career today. Now Ayesha is almost ready to go collecting again, the only issue is her social bar. Currently though, nobody else in the household really has time to take care of that. As we see, Pauline is busy raising her fun bar, so Ayesha will now use the computer to chat. That is a rather slow way of raising the social bar, but at least it doesn't require anybody else. Patrick meanwhile can go from the garden straight to work. I don't expect him to get promoted in one shift today anyway, and since this will probably be the last promotion of his life, we are not terribly in a hurry. Another fun bar maxed out, and so it's now time for Pauline to leave, and we can also see that the teleportation pad has broken down once again. Once he returns from work, Patrick will hopefully be able to fix that. Pauline meanwhile can start her shift, and that hopefully should end up in another promotion. Ayesha meanwhile has slightly raised her social bar. It is not perfect yet, but enough to begin collecting. At home, last but not least, Chastity is up on her feet, and she can start her day with a quick breakfast, and afterwards we can also grab her the Dirt Defiant and Hardly Hungry lifetime rewards. Then it's time to head outside and grab the mail. Ayesha has sent away quite a few things last episode, and we can sell those now. And after all that selling, let's do some buying next. More specifically, for almost 95,000 simoleons, let's purchase the graveyard. Chastity enters City Hall to make the purchase. And a few moments later, we are now the proud owners of Sunset Valley's graveyard. And with only a few more hours until her shift at work starts, I think we can spend that time playing for tips with Chastity. While everyone's busy, we can now check the upgrade requirements on the graveyard, and we can see it's only at level 2, and to get it up to level 3 we need another mausoleum. Now the thing is, there's already one on there, as you can see here, and it is, to be honest, quite the large object. Now on the plus side, it doesn't cost anything, but in order to fit another one in here, we will have to make a few changes. To get started, we will get rid of all the shrubs and bushes around the mausoleum that's already in place. We will then move that mausoleum a few tiles over to the left and add another one right next to it. We have now technically done everything that we need to do to upgrade this property, but it could still look a bit better. So up next we'll get rid of the fence, at least temporarily. And then we can also put the new mausoleum one spot over to the right, so it's perfectly symmetric, and after that put some solid floor down. Last but not least, a new fence that still allows access to the graves behind the two mausoleums, but one that at the same time goes around the entire block we just built. And yep, that's it. That looks a bit cleaner to me. One could even say it looks a bit more friendly. And as we now go back to live mode, we can see the property has been fully upgraded to level 3. A good hour later and Patrick's work shift comes to an end. No promotion, but that was what I expected. He will now get 2 days off and then hopefully get that last promotion on Friday. For now, he can return home for some repair work on the teleportation pad. Half an hour later and Paul's shift comes to an end and he does get himself a promotion. Paul is now a report processor, level 3 of the business career. Then at home, a worrying sight. Patrick has already failed once in his attempt to repair the teleportation pad, so completely ignoring that warning, let's have him try again. And you cannot believe how happy I was at that point to have a death flower in his inventory. Alright, Patrick is back among the living, but I think it's better we call the repair technician for this one. By the way, I have already sent Chastity off to work, but let's jump over to Paul for a moment. At level 3 of the business career, Paul now needs to start befriending his co-workers. And for that purpose, we have visited his colleague Wesley, who we should be able to become friends with rather quickly. Then Pauline's shift at the criminal warehouse ends, and just as expected, she also gets herself another promotion. To clean up the remains from the afterlife, I have sent Patrick to take a shower, and he can now do something slightly less dangerous and grab himself a salad to eat. Meanwhile, Paul and Wesley have become best friends, also fulfilling a wish for Paul, and that's enough to send him back home now. Back home is where Pauline has begun another workout and the repair woman also arrives. Hopefully she's a bit more successful than we were. In the garden, Patrick can now replant a few things, as Paul also arrives back home to continue with his novel. Outside, we are now slowly making the change towards gardening for a profit. And one of the most profitable plants in the game is garlic, so Patrick, who in a few days will no longer have a job, is now already investing in a gardening-heavy future. However, let's not forget about fishing either. With 16 angelfish in his inventory, we have enough to stock our own pond with them, so we now have access to unlimited angelfish right here at home. And that's exactly where Patrick is going to continue now, catching a few more angelfish. With Ayesha, we can continue spending money now. Specifically, for 60,000 simoleons, let's buy the second local pool. While she makes the purchase, Chastity finishes her shift, sadly without a promotion, but then again she's also very close to reaching the top of the symphonic career branch, so all in all, time is not an issue for her. Ayesha then leaves City Hall and we now own another property. Back at home, Chastity can spend the rest of the evening reading the logic skill book. I still want to get her up to level 10. While outside, Patrick has caught a few more angelfish, but it's time for him to go to bed now. That is, however, not because he's tired, but I just want him to get a bit of rest for another tour of deathfish fishing tonight. Ayesha finally returns from her collecting and investing trip. She can send away a few gems to be cut and then also make her way to bed. While she does, we get a nice little opportunity for her. Nothing spectacular, but the chance for a bit more money. And despite all the collecting, Ayesha is not terribly busy at the moment. With the shift starting early tomorrow, I think Paul is now also ready for some sleep. And so would be Pauline, if her need for something to eat wasn't even stronger. After a quick shower, she has earned herself some lobster. And with both hygiene and hunger bar now filled, Pauline can head to bed as well. Chastity can do the same, by the way, but let's focus on Patrick here. With everyone heading to bed, Patrick is now getting up. He is not really well rested, but rested enough for another round of fishing. 4 deathfish are already in his inventory, and he now has a bit more than 5 hours to catch the remaining 6. And hopefully among those we'll also have a perfect one. The next day is then a day off for pretty much everyone except for Paul. So while Paul is already raising his fun bar with the sim life goggles, Ayesha teleports off for some more collecting. Maybe today we'll finally get lucky.
Oh, Grumble Harpoo.
Patrick meanwhile has returned and we did actually manage to catch 10 deathfish, however not a perfect one. And for our own little private aquarium I'd like to have one, so he will have to do one more trip later. Pauline is now also awake and grabs breakfast, as Paul puts the sim life goggles down, eats a tomato and then teleports himself over to work. Once again, I have no doubt he'll be able to get another promotion here today. Back at home, Pauline can now start a 12-hour workout. She does have the wish to work out for that long, and we also still want her athletic skill to be up at level 10, so with the entire day off, this seems like a good idea. With Ayesha, we can finally rejoice. After countless hours of collecting, she finally manages to catch a zebra butterfly, and that was the last remaining butterfly we still needed, so we have now finally completed the collection and also unlocked the Butterfly Collector skill challenge in the process. A well-rested Patrick has gotten up again and grabbed the mail. We can quickly sell what we received and then send him over to the garden. And what happened next with Ayesha was simply too good to be true. Just a few minutes after completing the butterfly collection, Ayesha finds a Rainbow Beetle. We were looking to find one for hours now, and here we finally are. Ayesha has now more than earned the title of Beetle Collector. We complete all 5 skill challenges in the collecting skill. Please don't pay attention to the Firefly Collector, fireflies are not in the base game. And so with all of that done, I think we can now safely call the collection skill completed. Now, the only thing that I would like to still do with Ayesha, that is finding a rainbow gem. We have already done that with her, but I was stupid enough to get it cut and then sell it again. But I think it would be nice to have one of each gem on display, and we currently don't have a rainbow gem available. I hope that doesn't take too long. In general, I found the gem collection a bit easier to complete. At 2 PM then, Paul's workday comes to an end and once again he gets promoted. Now at level 4 of the business career, he once again needs to slightly improve relationships with his co-workers. Luckily, one of them, Philip Norris, is living close by, so we can just follow him home, then hope he lets us in, and then let our sweet talking skills do the rest. Alright, that went quickly. Paul and Philip are already best friends, so Paul can now return back home, and as a reward for completing all those collections, Ayesha can now participate in a study. At home, Patrick is fishing again. We still need to catch a bunch of fish to complete the fishing skill. Only sheer numbers though, no specific fish. And after returning back home, Paul is already writing again as we get an opportunity for Pauline. And we will reach level 10 of the athletic skill today anyway, so we don't really need the additional boost here, so we can safely decline. The experiment is over, Ayesha came out unharmed and we even earned a bit of money. Not a lot, but still every last bit counts. Ayesha can now continue collecting, while back home Chastity can call her boss. Remember, she was unable to get a promotion yesterday, but she did come somewhat close. So maybe we can sweet talk our boss into giving us one. Alright, boss on the property, let's see how things go here. While Chastity hopefully sweet talks her way into another promotion, Pauline finally reaches level 10 in the athletic skill. All the training will now not really do anything as we can't go any higher, but we will have her continue to work out anyway, at least until she has fulfilled her wish. And here we are, barely an hour later, the 12-hour workout is complete. Pauline gets 6,000 lifetime happiness points and has now more than earned herself a shower. Outside, Chastity and Bimble are still talking, so far without success, and in the background we can see Ayesha return, who will now send away a few gems and metals. The conversation has suffered a bit from Chastity repeating actions, so let's quickly grab her the Neville Doll lifetime reward. With that we can now pretty much spam whatever works. Inside, Ayesha is the first one to go to bed, while Pauline grabs a well-deserved dinner. A somewhat tired Paul can then stop writing and also head off to bed, while with Pauline we will live out our criminal side a bit. Parking lots are an excellent way to make money, as we just need to position her close to a car and then click on swipe something. So that's 1. And that's 2. And that is number 3. We can't swipe more than 3 items in a night though, so we can now send her back home. While she's on her way back, time to sell the stolen goods and whatever else we have accumulated in the family inventory. And then it's time to call it a night for Chastity. I was unable to secure a promotion for her. I never found the option to ask for one, to be honest, and it also didn't appear later in the conversation. Of course, it would have been nice to get one here, but like I said earlier, it's not terribly important. Now we could send Patrick off to bed now and call it an episode. However, that perfect deathfish is still on the to-do list, so off to the graveyard you go. And here we are, after 1.5 hours of fishing, Patrick succeeds, he fulfills himself a wish, and we now have a perfect deathfish. As usual, let's transfer that over to Paul, and we can now send Patrick home and make the cut. We will still fill the perfect private aquarium somewhere down the line, but since we also need to feed all those fish inside, this will probably have to wait until Patrick is no longer employed. For today, I think we're through. Completing the collection skill was really a huge relief for me, so I'm happy we got that done. As always, leave a comment if you have any questions or suggestions, hit the thumbs up button if you liked this episode, and I can say thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers!